the level. Now there's a different state. So one thing that we want to take, just to take from the breakthrough from last week, where we created that, look, now we can have breakdowns and breakthroughs worthy of our life. And we took that on for a week. And it was, okay, awesome. Some people succeeded, some people failed, some people, had whatever, happened. But we're not creating that as a 1 week deal. You get that? Like it was 1 week, let's try it on, and it was okay. I was really causing breakthroughs worthy of my life, or breakdowns worthy of my life for a week, and that was a good week. Now I'm going to go back to, living a whatever kind of life. So I just want to get present, or re-presence one more thing that we're creating. So not one more thing like this is the only thing, but another game that we're creating, which is for the final 2 sessions. Because I'll tell you, this is what happens to me when I invite people, and this is about regarding sharing transformation, just in the presence of what Nico got us in the presence of. But for me, when I invite, and I don't get a yes or a no, or they blow it off, or I get a no, I give up on that person. Now, it doesn't mean I give up on them forever, but I know that I've got a tendency, like, well, I tried, and now they're this way for me, or they're a stubborn one, or they're, I'll just let them suffer for another year, and then they'll see in a year that I'm right. And I've done that. I've done that with people. There's people for years that I've been like, well, yeah, told you about the form. But cool, keep your complaining. There's a difference. Could have been made. But anyway, I say this because I invited 2 people to be here last week, and they didn't make it. And I noticed my tendency, like, okay, they're, I guess they're just not going to come. But anyway, they're coming next week, and that was it was a big deal for me because I had every reason in the book to give up on that. But I want to play a game, and this is, so under your chairs, we have that same list. And I really invite you to, can you make sure everybody's got a pen? So not the top 2, but the same list that we had created at session 6. So we're just going to spend a couple minutes on this, but write down, like, who is that person, or who are those people that you go, you know what, this will fulfill the rest of the seminar. That if this person does it, I shared with my mom, she said no, and I noticed I gave up with her right in that conversation. Or I invited Jeremy, and he was going to come, and he didn't come. But I invite you just, look and write down a couple names, and this will be the, or 10 names, or whoever. And have this be, I've got the next, few weeks to really cause something here. I'll give you a couple minutes to do that. Or you could even look, this person came, they said they're going to do it, or they said they wanted to come again, or they're working up the money. They may not be as enrolled 1 week later, or 2 weeks later. And have them get in the presence of it. take another minute. All right, when you're done with your list, just like session 5, go out, go ahead, pull your phone out, take a picture, and then when you're complete with that, you've taken your picture, go ahead and turn it in. Oh, make sure your name's at the top too. That's maybe the most important. And then when you're complete with it, go ahead and turn it into the center. Yeah. You have to do it once. And one of those you have to do the seminar first. We'll talk about that later. Okay, cool. So, all right, everybody turn yours in. All right, cool. All right, so just for a moment, we want to make sure everybody's got somebody they can share with. So I just want to complete on the, just spend a couple minutes completing on the last session. So some of you had breakthroughs, some of you had breakdowns, and I'll say this to, even like give yourself space for it, but don't make yourself wrong or make the person you invited wrong if they said no, or if they didn't come. Or if they came and they, and you're standing and, and they were a no, or they were a yes at a later time, you're like, come on, you can make it work, or whatever. But, usually we have a tendency when we're standing for something big, or you might even make yourself wrong because, look, my stand wasn't there with them, or my stand wasn't there with my people. I wish they had come. So, so there's that aspect, and then there's the victories. Some of you have people here and they registered into the form and you're ecstatic, or they, or they're going to, or you're standing, the conversation is altered, or they now even know what you're up to, or this landmark thing that you've been trying to explain, now they know what it is, or I shouldn't even say they know what it is, but they've got a taste of it. So I want to say that, just, if there's anything that is there to complete, but also anything that there is to complete, you could share the victories, you could share the breakdowns, or anything, but just take a minute, about a minute and a half with the person next to you and just, share. You can just, whatever it is that will have the last session be complete, or you can share from, this is now who I'm inviting, or this is what I wrote down on my list. Cool? All right, take a minute and a half each. Switch if you haven't switched. Okay, start to wrap it up. All right, and acknowledge your partner. Wrap it up and acknowledge your partner. Okay. All right. So now, given the level that we're at, and given the level that you know that this seminar is going to be moving, especially with the Space of the Advanced course that we're creating, and it's this palpable presence where you'll get you're gonna have people come back. I mean, we could talk about this all day long. And I think that, it got clear, but there's going to be a different space, like a different, almost, you can look at it like you will now witness again and again transformation. And it's one of the things that I appreciate with assisting or continuing to lead seminars and hearing the sharing from people in the seminars or being around the Landmark forums. I get reminded of, oh my God, these miracles happen. And like I've said, I did the forum and advanced course back to back, and it was amazing. And then, I think it was probably 3 or 4 years later being at another forum, kind of like a Sunday night, like some of you were at last night. Or when you do another course and you start to witness again and again the miracles that happen. So now, given that we're at this next level, and that you've seen these breakthroughs happen, and you've had the breakthroughs yourself, even some of them you may be clouded by the 1% of your life that's not working, or you may not even be aware that, oh, this is a breakthrough. Like for me with my business is becoming a breakthrough, but it just seemed like, well, this was the thing that was going to happen. I've been working really hard, and I've shifted a couple things in the business. This is just kind of what was going to happen next. But I didn't get it as a breakthrough. So we're going to start to create, what is that? Like, how does that happen? How can I create that sustainability? So you want to look at, how many of you've had the breakthroughs and then for some reason they've gone back to business as usual? Who's had that? And what are some of the examples? Who could share a couple, share an example, like this is a breakthrough I had, this is going back to business as usual. Yeah, Jill? Stand up, please.
So I just had my breakdown again with my ex-husband this week. So we've been in a really good space since the forum, and he's actually been giving me money out of the blue. It's weird, so it was a great breakthrough, and I was like, cool, I get money out of this that I've been making myself right about this whole time. And then now he's just giving it to me, and I don't even there's no legal contract that says I get it. He's just giving it to me. It's weird.
Cool. Right? I want to marry a divorce him.
I know, right? Well, his dad died, and so he got an inheritance that was unexpected, and he's like, he's like, you've been so cool lately, and you paid for everything, the first 8 years of our divorce. I always told you to take care of things, but I really appreciate it, so here's a bunch of money. And I was like, because it was nice? What? And so it was just like,
those are the unexpected results of a breakthrough.
Right, totally. I gave up being right, and instead of making him, he told me about savings accounts that he started for kids that he never would have told me that. He would have hid money.
Yeah.
He would have
Yeah.
And so we had all of these great breakthroughs.
Yeah.
And we're talking better than we ever did before. And I'm like, oh man, what a great guy.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
this last weekend, I've been working for kind of a month and a half on rebranding my comedy. Because I kept his last name when we got divorced.
Yeah.
So this is his. It's because we threw boys together. I was not going to be odd man out.
So jump to it. So I think it's clear. You had the breakthrough.
We have a lot of
something
back
happened.
history on that.
Okay.
He did not want me to keep it.
Yeah.
Lots of things about it. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll at least separate the comedy from kids and him being a police officer and all this stuff. They'll quit making those associations. So I rebranded it to The Phonetic, and he found out about it and threatened me. Said I was dishonoring his father, and that if I didn't change it back, wait, what? If I didn't change it back, we were gonna have problems. And so now it's all of this nice that we had, and now I'm like,
Yep.
okay, I don't want to be right because I'm in this place of I don't have to be right. And now I'm like, I'm right because I'm doing what you told me you wanted me to do. And so now I'm I spend days being on it.
Good. Okay. Not gonna happen, but perfect example. All right. Great. Thank you. All right. So we're having this conversation about what's at the source of breakthroughs. Now, why are we having it? Because to sustain it, and in fact expand it, you have to be related to what's at the source of the breakthroughs. So most people don't know that there's a design to a breakthrough. And that is that for most people, breakthroughs often occur as random or seem to happen by chance. Oh, there's this money now. You know, or, well, we're just now getting along. But as you'll see very clearly for yourself in the forum, in the seminar, but in this methodology, this Landmarks methodology gives people the direct access to being able to cause breakthroughs on demand. So in this conversation, you'll have an opportunity to get what's at the heart of Landmarks methodology and what allows for extraordinary results that people produce. So one way to start talking about what's at the source of the breakthroughs is to talk about blind spots. So revealing your blind spots is what's at the source of breakthroughs. So what's a blind spot? Who could say, what's a blind spot? Yeah, exactly. Something you don't know that you don't know. And it's an aspect of yourself. Something that you don't know that you don't know. Now, a blind spot is something about yourself or your life that you can't see, and you can't see that you can't see it. So in our life, it's our blind spots that limit us. And every time we recognize a blind spot, those limitations caused by the blind spot disappear, and that's what we call a breakthrough. So seeing our blind spots is our access to breakthroughs. Now let's have another example. What's an example of a blind spot? Some blind spot that you've seen, since you did the forum or the seminar or the advanced course or participating. Yeah, Jesse?
I appease other people's stories, like I just become passive with them instead of like talking to the empowered person that they actually are. I start entertaining the stories that are disempowering.
So what was the blind spot?
So my blind spot, okay, so the story is last week my roommates and I had a huge like confrontation where I was caught in between the drama between two people, and really I thought that I was taking a stand to not be dramatic or like to not participate in the drama, but really I was being witnessed to and simply being passive by them, and so it came to a point where one of the roommates walked in on the other roommate talking to me, and I was just trying to be passive and be like, I'm not gonna do this, but I'm gonna like hold space for you while you process your shit. And it looked like I was placating and playing like both sides. And when in reality I was standing for no drama, I was just appeasing, I was passively like allowing the drama to happen around me and not taking a stand to like actually try. But I didn't know that I was like placating or.
When did you know that part?
When did I find that part out?
Yeah, like when did you actually see, oh, that's what I was doing?
When she came in, it was like, I'm calling bullshit on both of you bitches.
And there we have it.
Yeah, I was like, got it. I have been doing that, and I totally didn't see that I was doing that. But like, it was staring me blindly in the face, and so I got to get really complete with that integrity real fast.
Awesome. Okay, good. Good. What's another example of a blind spot? Something that you went, okay. Jason?
So for me, it was, like I was telling you about getting phone calls done and all that. I didn't realize, because I've had a lot of time before, I didn't realize that I really need to get a better sense of how to budget time. Because I find a lot of times that I think
I don't know if that's a blind spot though.
I think what I'm trying to say is that when things come up, I don't know how to manage in a way that is the most productive. I don't know what to say, is that?
So there might be a blind spot there. But that's not an example of a blind spot. You get that? You just saw something
So
that you
for
went,
me,
okay.
the reason I don't get that is because when it happens, I'm like, whoa, how did I manage to make this mess?
Yeah.
that's why it feels like a blind spot.
Got it. Yeah, and it's good. That's not what we're talking about when we say blind spot.
Okay.
So what's a breakthrough you had in the forum? Or in a seminar, or in the advanced course or program you've done?
Just one.
Yeah, just pick one.
I think one of the breakthroughs that I've had is, in general, just communication with my wife. It's been so much smoother.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be
So what-
good, then bad, then good. It's
Right.
been great for a very long time.
So what was something you discovered that you didn't know that got brought to the
A
surface?
lot of what was happening, which was like leading up to conflict, was my own story about what I think she's saying or thinking.
Yeah.
And letting that dictate
Yeah.
my reaction to what's going on in the moment.
Perfect. So she would say X, and then you had a story about what she was saying, and then you go, oh, this is a story.
Right,
Yeah. Oh, that's not even real.
right.
Yeah, perfect. There it is. All right, great. Thank you, Jason. So it's very simple. It's all very simple. So a blind spot is an aspect of ourselves about which we don't know that we don't know that we don't know. Now, blind spots rob us of power, and they keep repeating patterns of behavior that are disempowering. So we want to get deeper into the nature of blind spots, and to do this, let's consider that your eyes, like your actual eyes, are blind spots. So notice you have eyes, but you can't see your eyes. If you look around the room, you're going to see certain things, and then there's certain things that you can't see. You know, like we've got the chalkboards, but you can't see what's behind the chalkboards. You can't see what's behind you. You can turn your face really fast, but then you can't see what's behind you then. So there's blind spots. You can see parts of certain things, some things you can't see the whole thing. Now, what you cannot see and aren't even aware that you can't see is that with which you are seeing. What you cannot see and aren't even aware that you cannot see is that with which you are seeing. No matter how fast you turn around, you can't see your eyes. They are a blind spot. The nature of our eyes is that they give us what we see, but they cannot be seen. And likewise, the nature of blind spots is that they give us what we see, but can't be seen. So what we call something that gives us what we see that can't be seen is a context. A context allows what shows up for us to show up, but that context can't be seen. As with our eyes, we see only what our context allows us to see. But as with our eyes, we don't see our context. For human beings, life shows up inside a context. And the only thing that does not show up in a context is the context itself. It is the context that is our blind spot. And this is important to get. A blind spot is not physical. A blind spot's not even a thing. It is the context from which we are living that we are blind to. I know. You know, like, today I wake up and it's about 6 and I'm just on the phone working on finding more crews for this project we're doing. And, you know, and negotiating with crews and getting everything going. And my context, which I wasn't aware of, I was just going. You know, I'm like telling myself, okay, fix stuff, restore integrity, get into communication with people, do this, do that. Okay, when am I going to work out? Okay, gotta do this, gotta drive here, you know, go. Now, nothing was really worked out. Progress was getting made. But then around 2:30 this afternoon, I get on the phone and I start looking at, okay, what's the context I'm operating in? And I'm like, okay, the context is, it's screwed. This is what led to the conversation with Michelle. Like, it is screwed. But then I kept looking deeper. I'm like, okay, is that the context? No, it's that there's things that shouldn't be. Like, this shouldn't be happening. Things should be worked out. This shouldn't be happening. This crew wants how much money? They shouldn't do that. And then I'm on it. I'm upset. This shouldn't be happening. All this stuff, like, shouldn't be, should be, shouldn't be, should be. They should be this way. They should be that way. That was the whole context that I was unaware of that I was operating in since 6 a.m. And it was giving me all my actions. And I created a context. And then it was powerful for 2 hours. And then I'm driving over here and I forget something. And I'm like, of course. So I had to run to Target and buy something, which is there's a chip for the video game. Second time I've had to go buy a chip. And it's so stupid. I'm like wasting my time here. I shouldn't be doing this. Not here, but like at Target. Walking in the store, my car doesn't, or the thing, I put it in the thing and the dude messed up and I'm like, I'm wasting my time, dude, come on, figure this out. You want me to use a different card? No, I have to call somebody. Like, shouldn't be happening! But it was all in the context. So do you get that? So, now why is this a big deal? It's a big deal because in life the context is decisive. It is the context that gives us what is and is not possible. And if you alter the context, you literally alter what's possible. And I just want to say something, like even in the context, you might even be sitting in your chair, because I see a lot of people taking notes. This is not, let me just say something about the notes. If you actually look, like, what are you going to do with your notes?
Hopefully read it.
Hopefully read it, maybe if I get to it. But I really invite you, because I know that could be a certain context. It could be a context of, like, I'm learning something or I'm studying something. I really, you could even check into that. Like, what is the context here? What's that?
Are you making me wrong?
That could be another context. Oh, he's bringing this up. He's making me wrong. No, this is, you could just even look at the participation, because and I'm not even saying it like it's a problem, but there's a different context that you could bring yourself in. Am I here because I'm in the context of learning something? Or can I bring my life to this and discover something new? And you could even be questioning, like, well, do I take notes now? Do I not take notes? Like, what are you trying to tell me? But I really do invite you, like, look, it happens in the discovery. The conversation I had with Michelle earlier, I don't have to take notes on that. In these conversations, you don't have to take notes, because when it gets discovered as a presence, like, there is the presence of transformation. Like, when Jason got the story he made up about his wife's communication, he didn't have to go take notes. Oh! Okay, but she says, Jason, did you take out the trash? She's not telling me I'm a jerk. It's like, no, there is the presence of something. So, I thank you for the people taking notes. I actually didn't get that for myself until right now. Like, oh wow, I've watched people take notes, and I've never interrupted it. But what is the context of the notes? Because this is an education. It's something we call an education, but it's transformation. It's a moment by moment by moment phenomenon. And I could be the same way. If I'm on a call, I could just be on a call in the context of I'm here just to get through the call. Or I'm on the call hoping this is just going to be a good call. Or I hope somebody gets something. we fly to Los Angeles for seminar leader trainings 3 times a year. Then we have a training here. So we have 4 trainings. And I don't look forward to the trainings. It's like, I'm gonna go see how much of a jerk I am, or what's not working. It's like I don't look forward to it. Like I wouldn't expect everybody to look forward to a seminar or your advanced course. Some of you are probably not looking forward to your advanced course. Anybody in that boat? Just a couple. Yeah, you could be straight. So anyway, let's actually see this. So somebody who's taking notes, can you see your context, or what is the context with the notes? Yeah, Sky?
Yeah, in my case, my guys aren't here tonight, and I know that I'm gonna have to explain to them that context cannot be seen, but allows us to see what we can see, and I'll never recreate that if I don't write it down.
Good. So good. And that context,
Yeah,
it exists like it's a truth. Like this is the reality.
right.
Like, and some of you might even be questioning me, be like, he's got a great point. How is he supposed to give that to his group? Like those are some weird words to say, and like something you really want to get accurately. How could he give that to his group? Yeah.
In sort of piggybacking on that,
Yeah.
what I wrote down was eyes are a blind spot example. Because just thinking about that story of your eyes being
Mhm.
a blind spot of everything you see
Yeah.
puts that whole thing in context.
Yeah.
And now right now what she said.
Great point. Yeah, Sophie?
I'm taking notes, and I want to say what my forum leader said about taking notes. He said, are you going to take notes so someday maybe you'll have a great life? Or are you just going to be present to what I'm saying, and there's no need to take notes, and I still take notes?
Yeah.
And I will say that sometimes during the week, I like go back to them if I'm
Yeah.
not present to like
Yeah.
what context is, then I'm like, oh yeah, we talked
Yeah.
about that on Monday, and it's already Tuesday, and I forgot.
Yeah.
So that's like my context around it.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, let's have one more example. Yeah, Nancy?
I blame mine on being 52 and having a terrible memory.
Oh, okay.
So I often don't get it in the moment, and when I read it in between now
Mhm.
and our leader call,
Yeah.
then I have more time to reflect on it, and
Yeah.
oftentimes it'll be, oh, I get it now.
Yeah.
But I might not get it tonight.
Yeah.
So when it
Good.
seems really deep, and I think he said, wow, that was deep, I
Yeah.
was having one of those moments like I have no idea what he just said.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll get it later this week.
Oh, perfect. All right, good. Let's acknowledge everybody that's here. All right, good. So I really invite you, and if there is something you want to jot down, great. Do whatever you want with the notes, but I really want to point to it because you'll start, be creating this throughout the whole thing, but you're going to start to see how that whole context shapes every action taken inside of that context. Like every action I took from 6 a.m. to about 2:30 was all in the context of, oh my God, this is a $250,000 job, and then we have about 1.5 million of revenue on the line. If we screw this up, we could lose all of this. And so every action was taken out of desperation. It was taken out of, hey, can you get there? Can you guys get there tomorrow? Okay, great. Oh, well, we're paying you $11,000 for this? Okay. Or you want 13? Okay. Like no enrollment present for anybody, just pure like money thrown out, profit getting smaller and smaller. Oh my God, we're panicked here. Okay, we got to get these people here. Okay, I even have people calling, wanting estimates, and there's more business, and I'm like, it's a burden to schedule them. These are people basically calling to give us money, and I'm like, okay, forward this to them. I don't want to deal with this. How's our salesperson? I don't even care. Like really, I have no idea what he did today. I didn't even care. He could have skipped every aspect. I mean, he's not that kind of guy, but it's like really no regard for anything. Took a moment with my daughter. Okay, back to work. It was everything, all inside that context was a burden. No power. Just fixing. And I invite you to look, even with the note-taking. Like that is, you know, for me, this is how I learn. Or, you know, this is just how I've done things. Where there's the generate, like you could actually take a step back and go, okay, what if I really did? What if I really did bring my life to this? What if I really could generate myself in a way where I discover something, or I get something that rocks me, that I don't have to go back and try to remember? You know, right after I met with Michelle, I went and it was like I couldn't shut up about it. Like, walked to Maddie in the office, I was like, is that some Tears of Transformation? Here's what happened. I saw this when I was a little kid. I threw a book. Enemy, enemy, enemy. Ba, 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 ba. You know, it just became real and real and real. I'll go home and I'll share with my wife, and she'll go, kind of like Sophie with her husband. Like, that makes sense. That's how you've been. That really paints a whole picture of how you've been in our marriage. It's screwed. And I mean, that's how the blind spots work. The blind spot is everywhere. I'm sure I'll start to discover how that is with her. Someday, predictably, she will be an enemy. Or when the credit card statement comes, she's like, okay, we need to pay this. I'm like, all right, well, I guess that's some money out of my bank account. Great. Enemy. Yeah. Stand up, please.
Hey guys, I'm realizing that part of my context is that if I learn enough things and learn the right things, then the good things will happen and bad things won't happen. And that, yeah, hence note-taking.
So you can examine it. Oh, here's a good context. How many people you're going to process this later? How many people you need to go home and process? Guys, I hear more of that than there's some of you that I know are processors. You'll hear later and later, I gotta process this, or I gotta think about this. Not a problem. It's just to start getting the context as the context. You get that? Note-taking is the note-taking. Learning the right things as the right things. Learning the wrong things as the wrong things. Taking the right actions as the right actions. No right, no wrong, no none of that. But start to get context as context. You get that? All right, any yeah buts? Something that you don't quite follow? Maybe you have a context of, well, if I raise my hand, I'll look stupid, or...
The other morning I woke up and I said that I'm going to start my day in love and forgiveness. And it was a beautiful day, and that's usually how I start.
Well, how about that?
So out of that context, from that place.
That seems like a pretty darn good context.
It is, it works for me. So I don't know about anybody else.
What was it, love and what?
Forgiveness.
Love and forgiveness.
Love and forgiveness.
Would that happen to work for anybody else, love and forgiveness? It works for me. Awesome. Okay. So let's see where it's already been created. Okay, so I'm just looking at what's already been said, so we're not saying it twice, but it might actually work. Yeah, question or yeah, Bob? Hold on. No, this is, I mean, really, it's like the next few bullets. I'm like, well, we just said that. The next bullet is who would like to share an example of trading in a context. There's a bit in that.
Just take the advance.
Can you come sit down here, Spencer? Yeah. Does it fit inside that? It's like,
Yeah, well, I just realized that
sure.
exactly what you're describing in your business is exactly what I'm doing in my business right now. And I was coming in tonight thinking, okay, this has got to turn something around because I've had a couple breakthroughs.
Yeah.
And like, oh, sorry, thank you. So I've had a couple breakthroughs in my business, and I have kind of a big deal happening next week that could potentially break my business and potentially make things really, really, really difficult for me. And so I've been trying to process how I can not make a positive outcome right and all these things. And I've had a lot of work to do today, and I've been going through my day like in this cloud, and I've gone all day thinking, why am I in this funk? And you know, I felt like I worked it out before about this meeting coming up next week. And tonight, when you said that, I realized I've been living in this space that things don't work out for me. Even when I work hard, I don't get rewarded for it.
Oh.
And I have a ton of
Yeah.
throw the book stories that I
Yeah.
could explain why this is the space that I'm
Yeah.
coming from, for how this meeting's gonna go next week.
Oh,
But I
that's
just
okay.
didn't realize that that was my
So
presence
say, so
in the
go right there,
situation.
so how is that, in that context, how is the meeting next week gonna go?
In that context,
Yeah, like
oh,
right before
it's
this.
terrible. I'm gonna work my ass off all week long, and
Yeah.
we're gonna get a big old deny stamp.
Uh-huh.
And either this business that I've been spending a lot of money on and trying to start is gonna be completely in the trash, or I'm gonna have hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours more work and lots of money to spend to maybe still make it work.
Isn't that? And then, I mean, I so appreciate, like, how many of us we could relate to some sort of context like that? It's brilliant. So now, if we even just look at that, like, okay, now that we've distinguished, because once you distinguish the context, you get what's already there, then it puts whatever, you know, because that's all past that's right there. And it's that past that's creating that whole context. It's automatic. It was automatic. Like right when I'm driving over here and I forgot the chip for the camera, even first action I took inside of, because it was context automatic, it's screwed, shouldn't be happening. I called my coach to try to like weasel out of not using the chip. You know, like, oh, we don't have to tape it, which would be a disservice to all of you. But in the context, who cares about you? Life is about me now. It's about me. And it was right there. But then it was just automatic. The context was right there. So I even forget where I went with the tangent. But what were you saying?
Just the context of where I've been working from.
Oh,
is
okay,
that
okay,
it's
good.
not
So
gonna
now that
work
we
out.
get it as what it is, the past brought into the future. Now, what can you actually create? Like, what's a new context that could be created? Just for fun. Maybe I could live in this for a little bit.
That my hard work is gonna pay off.
Yeah.
I get results.
And what else? Like, the hard work's gonna pay off, and what else?
And I get to move forward and start the fun stuff. And this business is gonna come to me.
Yeah.
I feel safe.
And why did you even create this business? But you see, this is how it goes. The context just goes. Because really, that's what happened. I'll keep going back to me because life is about me in this context. But it was like I just got what I've been asking for. And I'm complaining about it. And I'd be complaining about it if I didn't get this project. All inside the same context. It should be, shouldn't be. So why'd you create this business?
To make money and have fun doing
Awesome. Okay. And any amount of money or anything like that?
Yeah, enough.
No, and you may not have. You don't have to just make stuff up if that's what you're doing. But like, really, what? I'm sure you started the business for a reason. You got inspired enough to take the action, working your butt off, like you said, doing all this stuff, putting yourself at risk to get denied or not denied. There was something that was driving this. So what was it?
Other than enjoying the making.
Yeah. And maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was enjoyably making money.
Maybe to finally finish and follow through with something that I've started for months in my life.
Yeah. Probably not that, but you know. I get it, but here's the whole nature of the context, is look, it was already inherited, you had some inherited context that's automatic and it's right there. That's all BS anyway. So you might as well create something else. And rather than it be something inherited, now you could actually put attention to, okay, what if I actually create something here? You know, or maybe whatever that blind spot was that I discovered in my communication with my wife, I could get present to what was there. Like, what was that presence for me? And then start creating from there. Now we'll start creating this in a moment, but I want to start to touch on the whole creation of this. Because this whole context is all nonsense anyway. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. It just was an inherited from the past, has no basis in reality context. Like you've already predicted the future inside of a big stamp of denial, or now I've got a whole bunch of work to do. Neither of which actually exists in reality. Maybe, I mean, unless they do stamp the thing with a big denial. And even that, so what?
I wouldn't be surprised.
So, all right, so let's just keep it there, because we're not even to the creation part yet. So awesome, thank you. We got other stuff to create here. All right, so now we want to bring this conversation back to where we started, which is what it takes to sustain a breakthrough and keep from going back to the business as usual. But creating breakthroughs is only the beginning of the game. The real game begins after you create a breakthrough. So what do you think the real game is after you create a breakthrough? Sustaining it, expanding it, action. So it's right there in that world. The real game is tending to, managing, and expanding the context that created the breakthrough in the first place. And almost no one pays attention to tending to or managing